Oh my God, Anita.
Hello, I'm Willie Bragg. I'm back. Real quick, I deleted the previous video. I had a weird day earlier. I'm going to make a quick explanation before I get to this video. So I had to delete the last video because I just got up after sleeping and I was not really as prepared as I needed to be. And I had a glitch on this computer too that I had to have taken care of. So I apologize, and I'm going to try to do better from now on. So let me start by talking about Cenk Uygur, the Young Turks. Cenk Uygur, with his quest to decide who is and who is not a true leftist, something that kind of gets tiresome. So I'm gonna do my part to discuss this with you all as well. So I'm gonna play some clip from Harlan's Media, Kit Cabello. I don't know who the young lady is beside him, but they discuss Cenk Uygur and his take, and I am going to share a few words intermittently and give you my take as well. For those that were online earlier, I apologize. It'll be a better job this time. Promise. Believe it or not. Okay. All right. And let me set up speed. So, yeah, we got it. Okay. Here we go.
This death, this destruction.
Global news impacts us.
We have to change the way we live. This is why we need independent media.
Fat Tony, Cenk Uygur, is back in the news today. You know, he is the host of that progressive channel called TYT. And recently he was on Mediaite, where he made a very asinine statement, which is very Cenk Uygur at this point, dictating who is a leftist and who's not a leftist, pointing fingers and saying they're grifters or they're doing this, especially being on social media, as just a way to make money and not really speak truth to power. Now, he called out Glenn Greenwald, he called out Jimmy Dore, as always, and even called out Brianna Joy Gray. Now, I want to make it very clear here. It wasn't too long ago where Cenk was singing the praises of Glenn Greenwald, Brianna Joy Gray, and yes, Jimmy Dore, who was once part of TYT. You see, the thing is, we all have different perspectives and points of view. Lauren, we have different perspectives and points of view. But I'm not going to sit here and tell anyone who is a leftist and who is not a leftist. We all have different perspectives and points of view, and the only way we can actually go forward is, okay, tell me your perspective. What is going on? What do you see that I don't see? I won't automatically say cancel this, cancel that. Same thing for our audience. When we give you these stories, when we tell you what we're covering, we're expecting all of you to make your own decisions. And if there's something we're missing, because I'm pretty sure we have said things on this show that a lot of you don't agree with, and we hear it out. Take, for example, Roger Meadows. He's convinced me worker co-ops is a better idea. And not to mention, abolish all parties, not just third parties, but people should be running as non-affiliates.
Great. People should be running based on issues and people should be voting based on those issues as well instead of the parties.
Exactly. And for a long time on the show, I was a huge proponent of third parties. I still am. I'll vote third party over Democrat or Republican, but from this perspective, independent non-affiliates, that's the better pathway to go, because even then, let's say third parties actually start getting prominence. What's stopping them from being corrupted, just like the Democratic or Republican Party? And when it comes on the worker co-ops, I had no idea really their effectiveness and what they can do. I mean, I'm all for unions, but from everything I've been hearing about worker co-ops and what they can do for workers, it seems like the better path. Now, with that being said, we're going to play this video of Cenk Uygur, the mighty Cenk, dictating who is left, who is part of the leftist movement, and who is not. Hang on, brace yourself, folks. It's
okay. I'm going to just quickly interrupt, and I'll get back to that in just a moment. Yeah, I agree with what Kit Cabello said about third parties. Third parties are needed, but they have a potential for corruption. So, to summarize what he says, and my take on this, that nonpartisan office campaigns are important, and that should be strived for. Not a problem there, and third parties start to win, and there could be corruption, or not just corruption. They could sell out as quickly as insurgent Democrats like the Squad and Bernie Sanders, and that's always a potential. So we can't just think that a third party is a panacea. I think a third party would make things better, multiple third parties, but it's not going to be the end all. I mean, you can go to France and Italy, or even England for that matter, where third parties are more prevalent than it would be here. They still got problems. So that's my take. And I like what he said about basically cancel culture. Nobody has to agree with everything that I have to say. He was like, nobody has to agree with everything that comes out of the views of Heartland's media. So I like his take on that as well. But I'm going to go back to what they're having to say and what Cenk has to say. Hold tight. Alrighty, let's go.
You're going to get a brain aneurysm. Let's play it.
The mainstream media is disgusting in how they shut out progressives. In terms of the right wing, no. Brianna Joy Gray, unfortunately, is one of the people that are in the fake left. So this has become a whole niche part of the industry. So Jimmy Dore, Glenn Greenwald, Brianna Joy Gray, and a couple others in there that are, to be fair to Dave Rubin, he started this whole thing. The fake left saying, "Oh, well, it's just I'm a classical liberal, I'm a progressive, but it turns out the right wing's right about everything." Okay, so that's the shtick that they do, and they go on Tucker's show and they dance for him, and so it's disgusting. They're not the real left, and here's how you can tell: they never disagree with Tucker.
Okay,
the mainstream media is
let's pause here,
disgusting.
because the video's going to be repeating itself. Now, I've seen the videos of Jimmy Dore on Tucker Carlson's show. He's calling out the hypocrisy of the two-party system, and it's the Democrats. Yeah, he's going to call them out because the Republican Party is might as well low-hanging fruit. We know what to expect from the Republican Party.
It's so easy to point fingers and point out what the Republican Party is messing up. But
I mean, we know how bad the GOP is, but the Democratic Party allows their incompetence to continue on. When in all reality, they are correct on a lot of issues, or say they're correct on a lot of issues, but they never take that initiative. So it's only fair that we see the pushback from people like Brianna Joy Gray and Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald recently posted a video. It was only like 15 seconds long of Cenk Uygur praising him for his great work as an investigative reporter.
Like, is he expecting them to go on Tucker's show and then just like scream at him and make an ass of themselves? But like, you go onto a show that has an audience that doesn't agree with you, and you act like a civilized human being, and then they're like, "Oh, I kind of like this person," and then they check out your stuff.
Right.
Like, then you can get new audience members that way, and then make them, force them to think outside of their little box. I think it's a brilliant idea to be polite on a show, the host of which you don't agree with.
And look, let's be very clear here. Whether you like Tucker Carlson or not, he has one of the most popular shows in cable media.
Scott,
his show is #1.
Quite an audience.
A large audience. And look, if you could even change, let's say, half that audience's perspectives, because remember, Bernie Sanders did a town hall on Fox News during the 2020 primary. It was the most watched primary debate town hall that was done during that election cycle. And so many people were saying Bernie Sanders is now a right winger.
Okay. All right. Let me interject real quick here. Whoops. Let me comment here. Let me comment here. All right. Now Cenk Uygur is basically accusing Breonna Joy Gray now is on that list with Jimmy Dore and Glenn Greenwald on the new list of supposed right wingers, Tulsi Gabbard, Kim Iverson, and all that. And you know, all the above names, they have positions in recent years that have actually made me cringe a little bit. Again, and I've had positions in the past, and I even have positions today that might make some people cringe too. I think we all do, whether you, no matter what individual you are, whatever position, we're all going to have, nobody's going to agree with everybody on everything. So I just kind of want to make that clear. The only thing that Cenk Uygur touched upon that he was correct was Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin basically is the most guilty person of all the people being mentioned, because Dave Rubin did create his Rubin Report, which parted ways with the Young Turks. And I think he did get a lot of money to go and have people on his show like Ben Shapiro and Steve Crowder and Dinesh D'Souza to basically say, I am an enlightened centrist, I'm a liberal, or I'm a lefty, but I agree with everything you say. At that point, Dave Rubin is no longer on the left if he's agreeing with everything they're saying. Oh, you can be on the left and might find an issue you can overlap with someone like Ben Shapiro and vice versa. I'm sure that Ben Shapiro has a take that maybe people on the conservative side is like, oh, you're a liberal on or something. I mean, because they do that. They split hairs amongst themselves too. So I get some conservatives saying, well, you lefties, y'all are sitting there just fighting amongst each other. They can't get their shit straight. We're somehow united and destroying the country, but at the same time, we're infighting and divided. We can't get anything done. Well, they're partisan, and that's how they are. And so they're going to try to have their cake and eat it. Now, as far as that young lady talking about, I don't know her name. That's why I'm referring to her as a young lady. Regarding going on Tucker Carlson, she's correct. There's no reason to go on Tucker Carlson, unless somebody, if he's being a fucking asshole toward people on the show, yeah, you go and say fuck you right back to him if he's going with a fuck you attitude. But the thing is that when Jimmy Dore or Glenn Greenwald or Tulsi Gabbard, primarily those three, when they're on Tucker Carlson, I want to make this clear. I am not a fan of Tucker Carlson. I have deep disagreements with Tucker Carlson, similar disagreements to what even someone like Cenk and many of us on the left has toward Tucker Carlson. Want to make that clear. But having that said, when it comes to people like Tucker Carlson does one thing that other right-wing hosts would never do when they have a left-wing guest on. And I'm going to say, for the sake of argument, we're going to say these are leftist guests. Well, they are saying leftist things on these shows. A right-wing audience, they are not going to like some of the things that Jimmy Dore is saying. They like the fact that Jimmy Dore or Glenn Greenwald or even Tulsi Gabbard is bashing on the Democrats. They like that part, but they disagree with the Medicare for all part. They disagree with some of the anti-war part. They even disagree with the free Julian Assange part, things of that nature, and various aspects of free speech parts. So there is that. And Tucker Carlson allows them to say that aspect of what they believe and to have a debate on it. And you will never get that on Sean Hannity. You'll never get that on programs like Mark Levin on Fox News. You'll never get that on OANN or Newsmax for damn sure. And it's easy to when it comes to bashing Democrats, and there's like all they do is bash the Democrats. Well, you know what? Bashing Republicans is easy as hell. I've been accused by some Republicans. All I ever do is crap on the Republicans. I do crap a lot on the Republicans. I've been accused by Democrats of all I ever do is crap on other Democrats, and I'm not a Democrat. But the point I'm trying to say, that's all I ever do is crap on Democrats. And the thing is this: I crap on those and criticize those that deserve being criticized. That's what it comes down to. I criticize those who are deserving of being criticized. When it comes to Republicans, pretty much 95% of the time, with the way that the Republican Party is constructed and with the nutcases that are elected in Congress and the nutcases running for Congress, they deserve to be criticized without a doubt. They got horrible ideas, horrible plans, and they're highly intolerant. And I'm being very generous with my words saying this. So it's low-hanging fruit to sit there and just focus on Republicans are bad non-stop. If you want to hear that on BreadTube, and I say this with utmost respect, go to David Pakman, go to Majority Report, or go to the Young Turks. They can tell you all day long how bad Republicans are. It's a duh position, okay? It's a duh position. Now, when it comes to the Democrats, it's obvious the problems are the corporate Democrats. But when progressive Democrats are not doing what they're supposed to do, they need to be called out on. And everybody's giving some of these independent thinking renegade leftists a hard time about it. So I'm going to let these guys continue. So just give me a moment. All right. Let's see. Let's go and continue.
So let's play this video because Brianna Joy Gray makes a response.
Crystal is on to something. The Republican Party is performative populism covering for unabashed oligarchy. What both he and AOC failed to say, though, is that it's not just Republicans. It is crucial that people who understand that establishment politics are broken not pull punches when it comes to holding one side or the other accountable. It might be Lindsey Graham trying to cut Social Security and Medicare this week, but as David Sirota pointed out in The Lever, a dozen years ago, Barack Obama and Vice President Biden held a ceremony at the White House to announce a commission to try to slash Social Security and Medicare, but for a sustained campaign led by Bernie Sanders, which included a threat to primary Barack Obama, Democrats might have succeeded. Too often, efforts to make life harder for working people are bipartisan efforts, and partisan sniping allows establishment politicians to pass off blame like a hot potato, while no one is ever held accountable. Is Biden doing enough to address inflation? No. But are Republicans offering a viable solution? Also no. Moreover, those of us in the media who are willing to point this out are often attacked by establishment punditry, accused of being in the tank for the other side, even as our criticisms are bipartisan. Wanting to hold Biden accountable to his campaign promises might get you called the Candace Owens of the left, at least if you're black. Explaining why Tucker Carlson is appealing to so many viewers recently caused the co-founder of a popular left media site to accuse me of not being a leftist.
She didn't say his name.
No, she didn't.
No, because see, the thing is, there was a time, very short time, very small window, where Cenk Uygur, EYT, people would have said his name. It was just a co-founder of a popular left-wing show on YouTube. And I think that's how TYT has now evolved itself into. It's now just a left-wing show on YouTube. Nothing too grandiose. But Cenk, how's that Katzenberg catch doing? Whatever happened to that investigative of those 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, those investigative reporters? What happened to that $2 million? What happened? I wonder.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing there. When it comes to the Young Turks, they used to be the only game in town pretty much 10 years ago. 10 years ago. They had affiliates, various programs. And they still provide good stories today occasionally. But, you got a lot more choices than ever before. And that's a good thing. I just wish that the online left can look past each other's differences and kind of work cohesively more toward our goals instead of which one of us are more edgier or which one of us are less of a sellout. There's too much of that going on. all of us, every one of us, even a nobody channel like mine, or big channels like the Young Turks, and or the Gray Zone, or all across the board, we all have more in common than we do differences. But yet everybody has an ego problem, and down the road, every last damn one of us, all of us. And I pretty much can agree with most of these breadtube channels from across the spectrum. And some channels I'm more critical of and suspicious of than others. But just to be honest, really, when it comes to the meat and potatoes of it, we have more in common ideologically with each other than we do differences. We're not CNN and the like. We really are not. So there's that, and we're not regular mainstream pretend liberals. We'll let everybody continue. All right, sorry.
Let's play the rest of that.
Just at all yesterday.
The mainstream media is disgusting in how they shut out progressives. In terms of the right wing, no. Brianna Joy Gray, unfortunately, is one of the people that are in the fake left. And so this has become a whole niche part of the industry. So Jimmy Dore, Glenn Greenwald, Brianna Joy Gray, and a couple of others in there.
Oh, well.
Sorry, go on. Didn't mean to
I
interrupt.
wasn't expecting that boss move at the end there. I love it. I just thought it was very funny that he's like inventing a new term on the spot, on air, in the fake left, because he couldn't even get the thought out. He had to go back and qualify it really quick.
Yeah,
and
the
then
fake left.
okay, you just made that up.
Yes, he pulled it right out of his rear end, and I'm being a gentleman about that. So there you go. But it's again, look, Brianna Joy Gray was part of the Bernie Sanders campaign, not once but twice, Janky. Okay, so before anyone starts to, because I will not sit here on the show and dictate who is this and who is that. Look, show me what you're going to do. I want to see action, not statements, deeds, not words. Make something happen. Show me what you're going to do. Show me how you're going to fight. I don't care what party. Look, because on this show, if a Republican politician does something good, like talking about free speech or Medicare for all, it's a rarity we'll ever see that, but let's say we do see that. Okay, I'll acknowledge. Same thing with our Democratic lawmakers. They do something good, fine. It's once in a rare blue moon. I'll call it out, but I'll still demand one thing. I want to see change. I want to get money out of politics, and we should abolish all political parties. And at this point, I've been very clear with what I want, and I'm going to make my other statement too. I want to see a rise of more citizen journalists. I want to see more people like yourselves stepping up, no matter what part of the country you're in, to actually bring up more independent media, because that's what we need to see in this world. And we need to see people calling out both parties, because both parties are filled with frauds. I want to pull up this tweet from Jimmy Dore, who again has been smeared by Cenk Uygur so many times. When Nancy Assange, union busting buster who is in bed with billionaire Clinton donors, calls you fake progressive, that's a win. Cenk Uygur lost all his progressive cred when he sided with politicians over healthcare activists during the force of vote. He thinks this will help. It won't. And he's right. Jimmy Dore is correct. That's why, a lot of these quote-unquote leftists are so upset about him possibly maybe making a run for president with the People's Party. We'll see. Jimmy Dore's yet to make that announcement. We covered it on the show on Monday. As far as I'm concerned, hey, go for it, Jimmy. But if not, look at how people are so upset that Jimmy is thinking about running in the 2024 election as an independent.
Wouldn't be the most ridiculous candidate out there running in the 2024 election.
Yeah, true. And if we have senile Biden and Trump running,
yeah,
it's like two old men arguing over a bowl of soup. So there we go.
Okay. Now with regard to Jimmy Dore and Cenk Uygur, thing about Cenk Uygur wanting to call people like Jimmy Dore right wing, and okay. Cenk Uygur was raised in a traditional Muslim family from Turkey, immigrated to the United States. He was born in the United States. He was a Republican, and in the 1990s, he wrote some blogs about the role of women and things like that. It was cringe. Later on, when he became an atheist and he became a progressive, and then he later on eventually found the Justice Democrats with Kyle Kalinske. Some of the folks from the Justice Democrats basically like, what the fuck are you doing writing these cringe blogs about the role of women? And the problem with that is that they cancel culture Cenk. Now, I don't think that they should cancel culture Cenk for what he said in the 1990s about the role of women, and even with those cringy positions he had as a Republican. For what I understand, for all counts, he was actually otherwise a libertarian-leaning Republican who was kind of socially liberal to begin with. So he wasn't even the worst kind of asshole Republican when he was a Republican, but he did have some cringy positions even as a progressive, like he used to support the death penalty and he was anti-union. He was kind of shamed into unionizing TYT. And while people want to call Jimmy Dore right-wing, and there are positions I don't agree with Jimmy Dore, Jimmy Dore convinced Cenk Uygur into opposing capital punishment. And while would I choose Bernie Sanders over Jimmy Dore running for president? Damn Skippy. Would I choose, the Green Party over the People's Party? Absolutely. Would I choose Jimmy Dore over Joe Biden and a Donald Trump contest? I would choose Jimmy Dore at that point. But the point I'm trying to make is, I'm not offended. I'm okay with Jimmy Dore running. I just not so sure is the People's Party is the way to go. I'm not going to go, and I'm not going to really get upset if he runs. I'm not going to be glad he runs. I say the more the merrier. I think as far as third parties are concerned, I say maybe the best thing right now is for Jesse Ventura. I think that the best thing to do right now is to have someone like Jesse Ventura and someone like I'm trying to think. I would say Jesse Ventura or Cornel West to team up. That would be a dream ticket for me right there. That would be a dream ticket. Someone like that. Or I would say Tim Black, who has a wonderful program, or Jen Perlman down in Florida. I think that would be a wonderful ticket. That would be a ticket I could support and put either of them on a green slate for the year 2024. And again, as I said, this Jimmy Dore bashing, that's ridiculous. I don't suffer from Jimmy Dore derangement syndrome in the sense that I simp for the man, and I don't suffer from Jimmy Dore derangement syndrome in the sense that I absolutely hate the guy. He says some things that are valid. He says some things that are kind of fucked up. And that applies across the board on BreadTube. Again, even Kyle Kalinske, who's I probably agree with policy-wise more than anybody as far as the big names are concerned. And there are some areas where I have some agreements with him on some issues, and he might be the one I agree with the most politically. And probably the area I disagree with Kyle the most is the independent political action versus the Democratic Party. On that one, I'm probably more on Jimmy Dore's side on. But if somebody who accused me of my politics as being sort of between the politics of Kyle Kalinske and Jimmy Dore, that would probably be very, very correct, even though they're not too fond of each other right now. But I'm just saying there. So anyway, but going after Brianna Joy Gray, Brianna Joy Gray is base. While Ro Khanna was sitting there giving Bernie Sanders advice on how to act like just another generic Democrat, and the rumor has it that Tulsi Gabbard was going to endorse Bernie Sanders, but I think that Ro Khanna has something to do with Bernie Sanders rejecting an endorsement. I heard that as a rumor. I'm not making allegations. That's what I heard as a rumor. And if that's the case, I'm prepared to believe that. And I think that if he did that, if he wouldn't have done that, I think that she would have been on a little bit of a different path. I would kind of really wanted her to be Bernie Sanders' running mate. Really, I really wanted Tulsi Gabbard to be Bernie Sanders' running mate. I said that now, and I still feel that way in retrospect. I still do. Make no apologies about it. Even if I get a little perturbed occasionally. I'm perturbed with Bernie Sanders too, occasionally, by the way. But it's funny. 2020, the ticket I did not want to see happen, and that was Biden and Harris. I knew that was going to be the ticket, and the ticket I absolutely wanted, and the ticket I wanted 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, was Sanders and Gabbard. That did not happen. So anyway, sad to say, but I'm gonna let these two continue. And as far as Brianna Joy Gray is concerned, she's base. I like Brianna Joy Gray. Okay, let's continue here. All right.
Here we go. Now, I want to play this video analysis from Savvy Sabrina. Again, fantastic work. If you're not subscribed to her YouTube channel or Revolutionary Blackout Network, please do so. In fact, double check and triple check that you're still subscribed. Also, make sure you're still subscribed to Hard Lens Media, of course. Let's go ahead and play this video of the wonderful, outstanding Savvy Sabrina actually talking about this statement where Cenk Uygur is defining who is leftist and who is not. Let's play it.
Uygur is calling other people fake leftists. Union busting Cenk Uygur. I don't feel like he's genuine. I don't feel like he's sincere. I don't agree with Tucker Carlson on that.
Just on my carbon
Oh my God.
Yeah, you did.
And you instantly got the best, most competitive offer from our network of
I apologize for the damn commercials, folks. I apologize.
99.8% of things. I thought the whole idea of being on the left was to increase the left. I thought the whole idea was to get this message across to as many people as possible, whether there's a campaign attached to it or not. You're not going to do that if you only talk to people on the left. I think part of the problem that we have on the left is that we have allowed the TYT network, and I say network, not just that show, but everybody up under that TYT network. We allowed them to define what it means to be a leftist. We allowed them to define what it means to be progressive. We did. They were one of the first big independent media networks. You got to remember, Cenk was a co-founder of Justice Democrats. That's the model that they go by. And when you start talking outside of that model, they're going to smear you. And once you start telling people, maybe we shouldn't look at these issues as left versus right. Maybe we need to look at the class issue, which is something I say a lot. Once you take the focus away from that Justice Democrat strategy, then they come after you because you are now a threat. So let's talk about being progressive. So if you go on praising about Chris Smalls and what he did with the Amazon workers, but you yourself are a union buster, I would say that you're a fake leftist.
Hey, hard to argue.
Fair point. She's right. Like,
so again, here I gotta keep it real. Look, I used to watch TYT, and let's be very clear about this too. TYT was one of the first major networks to really be something different than what we see from the mainstream media. But after the 2016 election, especially when TYT got that Katzenberg cash, there was a big shift. And you know what? I want to quote myself and even Daniel when we brought this up, when we talked about the documentary, film Mad as Hell, which was about TYT. This is something that maybe they were always going to do. This isn't a surprising reveal or something out of a soap opera. We're like, oh, shocker. TYT was going to go down this path, whether we all knew it or not. But the thing is, their message, their reporting, the way they cover stories, we just can't carry water for the Democratic Party. And it's correct to really be critical of the Democratic Party because they always help out the GOP. They're friends with each other. The Republican politicians, the Democratic politicians are friends, and their owners, their donors, control them. Same thing the way they control the media. You got to call them out. We can't play nice. I'm tired of seeing tweets from these, especially from progressive lawmakers, where they say, hey, what does Medicare for All mean for you? What does UBI mean for you? What does student debt forgiveness mean for you? It means the world to a lot of people. But you're not doing anything about it. And pushing Biden to the left ain't going to work. And this whole idea when you hear from Fox News that Biden's a communist, what? Fox News, look. Sometimes you're getting close to the touchdown, and then like the big brain idiots that you are, you drop down, take a dump, and say you hit a home run. So there we go. That's my analogy of Fox News.
I mean,
Keep it together.
Okay, let me just interrupt for a second. I hate to interrupt because it's not about me. But Savvy Sabs, and I enjoy Savvy Sabs, by the way. The only thing she's ever really said that bothers me is when she, and I'm not exactly a big David Dole fan, but when she said that she disagreed with David Dole and Kyle Kalinske 98% of the time, I'm like, come on now, be real. 98% of the time. If she was said I disagree with Ben Shapiro 98% of the time, I'd be like, okay. But And I, no, if you say Marjorie Taylor Greene 98% of the time, that would be one thing. But Kyle Kalinske, David Dole 98% of the time. Come on now, that's just being too melodramatic. Trying to outleft the left. Too much of that I've been used to. Now she was correct about TYT, and there's a lot of they were a model for many years. I mean, I love the fact that right-wing talk radio don't have the strength that it used to have. And I think the TYT has a lot to do with it. When TYT went on YouTube in 2005, I didn't know who the fuck TYT was in 2005. I was busy doing other political things. Catty Ann that's online right now, she would know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the thing about it is that TYT was a game changer. When I heard of them around late 2007, early 2008, and between then and around the time Bernie Sanders ran for president, I noticed there's been an ideological shift in this country, and I was no longer politically in the wilderness and didn't feel like the crazy man as much as I used to, because there was a time I used to feel like a crazy man here in the Raleigh area, even amongst bland Democrats, normie Democrats, with my views, and now my views are, not, I'm still probably not 100% mainstream, but more people willing to listen. So anyway, she talks about, the whole class issue, and that's what we need to focus on. I don't mean class reductions like you're neutral on social issues, but we need to go and wage class warfare. I mean, we need to unite people, the haves against the have-nots. It's cliche, but it's fucking real. For the past 40 years, look what's happened with the Reagan Revolution. We are the victims of what Ronald Reagan did, and what Ronald Reagan did. Not just made the Republican Party a quasi-fascist party that they are becoming right now, but it's turned the Democratic Party to an entity that was to the right of the right wing of the Republican Party almost in the 1980s. So this is where we're at right now. And the thing about it is that TYT needs to stop holding water for the Democrats so much, and because we could have gotten somewhere with forced to vote. And again, for those that hates Jimmy Dore, and I'm not making excuses for him, but I will forever tell you he was correct on forced to vote. Because everybody's saying we may not get for health Medicare for all if we don't have forced to vote. Well, we didn't do forced to vote. We sure as hell don't have Medicare for all. We don't have a public option. We don't have jack shit. And I am going to predict in another 25, 30 years, we're going to be talking about a public option. And it was going to be considered a radical position. This is where we're at here in the United States today. So damn bad. When I retire, I almost want to move elsewhere. But I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But anyway, let me continue. Or let them continue, rather. Okay.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Everyone, don't you dare laugh. Serious. I'm sorry. All right. Anyways, so how do we end this segment? Well, with an outstanding collage video from the wonderful Joe. Now, if you haven't been following him on Twitter, you can find his link in the description box below and in the show notes. But again, Jimmy Dore is calling out the hypocrisy of TYT. And at the end of the day, where's Jimmy Dore wrong? Let's play this video.
The anti-war option if he ends up running for re-election, I guess.
And now someone will clip this like they did last time to make it look like somehow I'm telling people to vote for DeSantis. And which I expect people to do. What I don't expect is for grown-ups to fall for it.
He avoided Trump stories like it was the plague during the Trump administration.
First thing we got right here. First of all, we have a failure to communicate. This is your party. This is exactly who you guys have been since Nixon. This is the 30 years of the Southern strategy.
Because now your main job is to fillet Republicans all day long. I hope you're having fun.
The Southern strategy, which was invented by Richard Nixon, which was just scaring white people about black people to get them to vote for Republicans.
But over the years, his content started to shift. He never criticized Republicans.
I don't criticize Democrats because I favor Republicans. I criticize Democrats because they favor Republicans.
But the
Damn
reason why
right.
Jimmy Dore is deceiving his audience is because he wants them to vote Republican.
We have a failure to communicate.
He wants them to support Donald Trump.
Nowhere in the Jimmy Dore show have I ever heard Jimmy say, vote Republican, vote for the GOP. Because he's not for either of the two parties. I want to make it very clear on this. We are critical of the Democratic Party. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. Whoever's watching this, whether you're a Republican vote, a Democrat vote, independent, vote however you feel like. But if you vote for the Democratic Party or if you vote for the Republican Party, know this. Those politicians don't like you. They don't think about you. They don't respect you. You will never have a seat at their table. And if you're only doing it just for team politics, then you're a sucker. I'm sorry. If you're a Republican voter that votes Republican, Democratic voter that votes Democrat, you're a sucker because the politicians don't like you. Let's play the rest of the video.
I want to interrupt for a quick second, and I'll continue. Maybe for me, the strongest difference between myself and Jimmy Dore, and I understand Jimmy Dore with his take is a lot of people think that he's a sheep herder for the Republican Party. He's not. What he is concerned about the People's Party. That is his vehicle. That's his little project. That's his little baby. Unfortunately, as I said, I had my doubts about that People's Party. I mean, third parties come and go. He is an accelerationist, and the Young Turks are not. And I actually do understand accelerationism. I do understand that. I would say maybe I'm guilty of being a self-accelerationist because I don't want to assist any corporate Democrat whatsoever. I have not voted for a Democratic candidate for president since 1992, and even then, looking back, I am sorry I voted for Bill Clinton. Having that said, but the point I'm trying to make is, he's guilty of being an accelerationist. He's not guilty of sheep herding Republicans. You can criticize someone that if you like. You can call him an asshole if you want, or you can say, well, he's kind of base for doing that. It's up to you. But and again, I don't want to sound like I'm defending the guy. He has positions. Everybody's got positions that I disagree with. And as I said, I mean, now I don't think he sheep herds people in the Republican Party, but while he was busy criticizing the squad over the $40 billion in aid to the Ukraine, military aid, and he was correct to criticize the squad. I didn't disagree with his soft praise or soft distant praise of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I understand the point he was making, but when Marjorie Taylor Greene's talking about things like baby formula, and that's her concern, and then she ends up voting against a baby formula relief, and we all know why, because in Marjorie Taylor Greene's case, she don't want those little black babies and brown babies getting formula. We know that. We know that. But the thing is that with regard to a warm praise or a distant or faint praise for Marjorie Taylor Greene, I call that a no-go zone for me. There's nothing to ever praise that woman for. Even if she is technically correct on Julian Assange, and there's a tweet that hints that she's favoring justice for Julian Assange, it's done under partisan grounds. We get a Republican president, I bet you that bitch will be very, very, very quiet about Julian Assange at that point, because she's a partisan hack. So there is that as well. That will be my criticism of the TYT left criticizing Jimmy Dore. That will be the closest thing to me agreeing with them. But even then, I don't believe that Jimmy Dore would actually vote for Marjorie Taylor Greene if he lived in that district in Georgia or anything like that. Anyway, I'm running my mouth, but I'll continue, or let them continue rather.
If he runs in 2024.
And now you know why you have to stop voting for Republicans and Democrats.
That's lying to your audience on purpose for money like a whore.
All he did was focus on Democrats.
Like a whore.
Nothing has changed because of Trump.
But now he's going to help you out and just admit,
Like a whore.
yeah, I think that maybe you should consider supporting Republicans.
It's time to start voting third party, no matter what the third party is. You got to stop giving your vote to these two corrupt, murderous parties.
But the idea that you can sort of just quantify that Donald Trump was less pro-war than Joe Biden is just absurd.
Who pulled us out of Afghanistan? I'm just interested about that question. Which president? Which president?
President Joe Biden went pulling out of Afghanistan while committing billions in funds to troops in Ukraine, Israel, and Somalia. So we're in forever war. It's never stopping. This is a death economy.
His whole railing against the duopoly and not voting out of fear of the lesser of two evils was really just to get a way to get people to not vote for the best shot at getting left-wing proposals enacted.
What the fuck?
I just don't think, what's wrong with you?
What the fuck? Are you fucking on drugs? Blunders. Earmuffs.
He's sitting there trying to help the Republican Party in every single way, like a whore, because he loves Trump so much and he thinks he's so anti-war. Like a whore.
You would think it would be 57 progressives voting against it. But that's what I mean about the flip. Now, instead of having 57 progressives vote against war, we have 57 right-wing conservatives vote against war.
I mean, if you think Jimmy Dore is a leftist at this point, you need to get your head checked too. He wants to sheepdog people into the Republican Party.
Like a whore.
How you still don't think he's a con man? You just want a fake hero. I get it. Everybody wants a hero. I wanted Bernie. Bernie was my hero in 2015, 16. I know what that's like. But you got to face the music when you see who they really are. Bernie has proved over and over again he won't actually cross the establishment. So does Donald Trump.
Right, so I think that's the final note for this segment. Look, it's not right to dictate who is left and who's right, who is correct on certain issues. Here's the thing. The two-party system has been screwing us over, and Breonna Joy Gray, Glenn Greenwald, Jimmy Dore, and so many others have been speaking truth to power. And if TYT can't wrap its head around it and that they've lost the message, well, then it's time to move on. Lauren?
We never should have had a two-party system in the first place. I think that things would go a lot smoother for our country if we were able to vote on issues instead of people, and then have some kind of way to, you vote on the issue and you don't know who you're voting for. You just know what you're voting for.
Yeah.
And then, at the end, whoever has those policies, that's who wins.
Agreed.
I mean, the two-party system was never, ever, ever going to work. Washington knew that.
If you've been
Okay. See here. I think that pretty much was it for that segment there. But thing is that anyway, they keep pushing the envelope, and it really kind of started in 2016 with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. In my view, it started in 2016 with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton with the identity politics. Hillary Clinton, they wanted a first woman president. I'm cool with a first woman president, but I want that woman president to have good politics. I want that first black president to have good politics. I want a regular, just anybody, white guy, good. I don't care who you are. I want good policy is what I'm saying. Good policy. Good policy is what I say. I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care what your religious affiliation is. I don't care what your sexual orientation is. What I care about is policy. Policy is what matters. Policy over identity. And policy, even in relation to identity, policy affects identity for the better, because when you have good policy, all identities becomes equal or move toward equality. That's what it comes down to. So, and if Bernie Sanders wanted to play the identity politics card with Hillary Clinton, all he had to do was just hey, I always wanted a woman as president, but what do you have against a Jewish individual running for president? Could have played that card, but Bernie's a cut above it all. And he's a cut above it all. So, and honestly, and as I said, if they wanted diversity in the year 2020 running, Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard ticket would have, at that time, would have been a very diverse ticket. It would have been a non-Christian ticket. Had an elderly Jewish socialist from Vermont running with a Samoan woman from Hawaii who's a practicing Hindu, who's a woman of color, and all of that. So that would have been a true diversity ticket right there. I'm speaking from what I was wanting from 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, around this time. But as I said, I mean, after the 2016 campaign, it's like everybody started accusing anybody to the left of. It's easy to accuse anybody to the right of a corporate Democrat being right wingers. But here's the thing: the corporate Democrats are right wing themselves. But then they went and started accusing people on the left, to their left, of being right wingers, and then you got other people within the left starting to accuse other leftists of being right wingers, and it's really and the list just keeps adding on and on and on. It started with Shoe on Head. It started with the Glenn Greenwald. It started with Kim Iverson, Jimmy Dore, and Crystal Ball has been accused of being right wing, and now they're going after Breonna Joy Gray. And I predicted that, and I think my prediction is going to come true. I think that Kyle Kalinske is probably going to be next. They're going to start accusing Kyle Kalinske of being some kind of right winger. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then pretty soon there will be a time when Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian are right wingers, and Sam Cedar and Emma Vigeland and even self-righteous Nomiki Kontz are all going to be a bunch of right wingers. Now, and the thing is this is orchestrated to try to eliminate anybody with any left wing set of values, to move them all out of the way, and to keep us mired down the third way path of Clintonism. They don't want us to move beyond Clintonism. The Democratic Party and what constitute as modern liberalism, or the center left, is stuck in the 1990s. And they want to remain in Clinton land from now to the rest of eternity. And I want to, metaphorically or figuratively speaking, blow the whole goddamn shit up in that regard. Figuratively speaking, nobody take my words out of context. I'm a pacifist. So we have one hell of a chat line here. So let me scroll back up as I can talk to each and every one of you real quick. Okay, we have Hot Retarded Chicks. I'm glad to see you here. Damn Skippy. You heard me say damn Skippy. Let's see. Odin, hold on. Odin All Father. Sanders has exposed himself as a sheepdog. Bernie Sanders, I have said this to a friend of mine. Bernie Sanders is not the person that I admired the way he used to be. And that is the honest truth. I still respect Bernie Sanders. I have a lot of admiration for him still, but he's probably disappointed me now more than he's ever had before at the same time. But somehow I still kind of believe in the man. And he's trying to fight, but man's 80 years old and he's kind of lost his will in a lot of ways too. You get tired though. Tom Bradford. Hey, Tom, how are you? As soon as you're calling Breonna a fake leftist, you lost any and all credibility. Tell me about it. Let's see. TYT is gas supply for gaslighting. Well, TYT is just not what it used to be, for damn sure. Catherine Ann McCloskey Ross. Hey, Catty Ann, writes, unions and co-ops are not exclusive. And that is very true. I was kind of always for co-ops, but I used to be the kind of person that I used to think, well, unions and a single payer system, a few more unions around. Hey, we're in social democracy land and everything. And I've gotten a little more radical about it. We need to basically take over some institutions that have actually caused a lot of havoc. And we need some serious social ownership. I'm as anti-woke as hell to all the people in mainstream politics, but I'm further left economically than ever before. I'm bordering on Titoism at this point. So let's see here. Ad blocker for desktop, YouTube Vance for Androids. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get some kind of an ad blocker. It's getting on my damn nerves. Thanks, PH Cisco. Let's see. Not me laughing out loud. Okay. And yes, Cenk is a total piece of shit. There's a part of Cenk that's still likable, but he's very disingenuous and he's been bought. Katzenberg makes damn sure that he and Anna are kept in line. Even when Anna did her little outbursts about a month and a half ago or so about the Democrats, all of a sudden she kind of changed her tune like about a day or two later. I think that Jeffrey Katzenberg had a phone conference and put them both in their place. That's what I think happened personally. Odin the All Father. It's not a class war till we fight back. And I see a little sign of push back, let alone a stand or fight back. Yeah. And there's no pushback or any fight right now other than Orange Man is bad. So I mean, and that's all that they seem to rely on. And I mean, you got to go beyond. You got to go move beyond Orange Man is bad. I mean, that's all they got. That's all the shit lives has got, and that's all they want us to care about. That is all they want us to care about. So, let's see here. We got here. The People's Party is trying to get Dore as their presidential candidate. So yeah, but JD has also shielded the Green as well on his show. I think that the Green Party think that the People's Party would do best if they could collaborate with the Green Party. And do something kind of that will be reminiscent of Robert La Follette's 1924 Progressive Party, and do it in a way which would not collapse the way that Robert La Follette's Progressive Party collapsed after the 1924 election. See, Democrats are constantly paying lip service to many of the things leftists and progressives care about, and far too many people buy it. Therefore, their feet must be held to the fire. Says Tom Bradford. And that's very true. It depends on what Democrat. As I said, I vote independent about 90% of the time. And if a Democrat's good on paper, and even I would say if they're good on paper and they have a track record behind them showing that they're good on paper, and you conscience tells you feel pretty good about that individual candidate, there's no harm, at least in that election cycle, giving them a chance. I mean, I'll give you an example. In Pennsylvania, the one Democrat I do like is John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. I like him. But if I was in Pennsylvania, I'd vote for him as John Fetterman. I'm not voting for John Fetterman. I wouldn't vote for John Fetterman because, just to make the DNC happy. Because if Connor Lamb would have gotten the nomination, I wouldn't give a damn a flying fuck about a Connor Lamb. Let's see. The saying is your vote changed any. Let's see. The saying, if your vote changed anything, that they would ban voting, it's not a joke or jib. It's a statement of fact. Yeah, if voting could change anything, they would make it illegal. I think that was Emma Goldman that said that. I believe. I agree he's too soft on TMGs, and hence that gives the left ammo to call him a secret right winger. I don't think that. Oh, I know what you're talking about with Jimmy Dore. That was the only thing I ever heard him say about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I know the point he was trying to make. I just think it was a terrible point. I mean, that was, to me, those few little words was worse than having the guy from the Boogaloo Boys on the show. I see the pros and cons of Boogaloo Boys. I saw no merit to saying anything positive about Marjorie Taylor Greene. If he was going to say that about Marjorie Taylor Greene, he ought to have also backed it up with, hey, I don't trust this bitch either. You can say good things about Rand Paul and leave it at that. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, no, just can't go there. Let's see. Democrats are right of center. So is TYT. The Democrats are to the right of Boris Johnson's Conservative Party in the UK, if that tells you anything. Let's see. I would vote for Dore if he was on any ticket. I'm not a hardcore Dore follower, but I do think someone actually on the left would be a win. And Dore has pretty good politics as a general rule. I would say probably the only thing that really bothers me the most about Dore is he tends to make too many enemies, even when he's correct on something. I'm like, you didn't really need to go and attack somebody on this, whatever. I mean, I think his tact needs to be a little softer in dealing with people. Just my opinion. I'm just saying. But but on the force of vote, honestly, I could see where he got his anger on force of vote was justified 100%. Let's see. Yep. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure Dore would change things if they did not kill him, and I would not put that past the establishment. Yeah, but I don't think Dore's going to run for president or anything. I mean, Dore's not going to win the presidency, shall I say. Seriously, I'm fine with any black gay midget as long as he can fix this goofy place. Let's see here. What this guy here? All right. We have, it's all well to have a policy. It's another matter to have integrity to implement them. We need policy, and we need people who are going to stick to policy. Agreed. As for Sanders, he will throw the race just short of the finish line, because Bernie Sanders did not want to be considered another Ralph Nader. My understanding is he's not spoken to Ralph Nader since the year 2000. And what happened is he felt like he played a role in Donald Trump winning in the year 2016. He didn't, but he felt like it. And for that, I am very disappointed with Bernie Sanders. Get it, Willie. Hey, propaganda, how are you doing? Let's see. Sam is a corporate dumb. He's not on the left. I think he means well. Sam is a bit elitist at times. That's my problem with Sam. He's a bit elitist and just sitting there saying what a piece of shit Dave Rubin is, and he is, or saying what a piece of shit Jimmy Dore is, and Jimmy Dore is not, but saying that just for clicks, I mean, tells me he's in very short supply when it comes to having an imagination. I usually go to sleep when I watch Majority Report. It's gone downhill since Jamie Peck left. Let's see. And Sam anti-healthcare for all. He actually, for a moment, agreed with Jimmy Dore on force of vote, but then he turned against it. And Breonna Joy Gray did call him out on it. So I give him the benefit of the doubt, if not his age. Let's see here. Bernie is old, and that back end of his life all knows he held that he will rain down upon him and his family if he allows Trump, or if he tries too hard to upturn to the current apple cart of the government. I will say something about Bill and Hillary Clinton, but it will sound like a conspiracy theory that's been floating around for years that I used to reject. Use your imagination. I'm saying this so nobody can go and attack my channel for saying this, but let's put it this way. I think that might have had something to do with Bernie Sanders kind of slowing down. If I was in Bernie Sanders' shoes, I would have my concerns as well. Let's see. Turf always has a pretty turf always look pretty good at first glance. See, are you? Oh, I think I know you're talking about with regard to Tulsi Gabbard. That is my biggest problem with her in that regard. Sam Sender is only for himself, it seems. Yeah, well, as I said, I will listen to Sam sometimes, but I usually end up going to sleep in the afternoon. I work graveyard shift, so it's a great way to go to sleep with the computer beside my laptop beside my bed. Let's see. TYT's clue was in the name, the Young Turks. When I used to be like a total simp for the Young Turks, I used to get a lot of pushback by people, and I didn't initially know what was meant by the Young Turks. I know there's a song by Rod Stewart called the Young Turks, and it's a phrase I've heard. Even Vice President Gerald Ford in the 1960s, as a member of Congress, he and a couple of Republicans had a small little caucus, and they were called the Young Turks, but it did not have the connotation that the Young Turks, that's the name of the network, has, which is ironic because Cenk Uygur is Turkish American, and he co-hosts the program with an Armenian American by the name of Anna Kasparian. And my understanding is, while she's not very religious, the Armenian church says that she can attend mass or I guess can receive communion as long as she's in that network because of the her affiliation with the network historically with the 1918 massacre by the Ottoman Turks of the Armenians. So it's kind of a sick joke if that's why he called it that for that particular reason. I like to know why, tell you the truth. Sam is for making six figures that his audience, the soccer moms and tech bros. Yeah, I think so. He's and TYT's Sheepdog's Trail. Yeah. Cenk is a total sellout in terms of his long-term goals. Does he prefer a leftist agenda? Sure, but he will swing a temp right to make the big bucks. Well, yeah. What's happening to them is what's happened to mainstream media over the years. They're all bad. Yeah, and even I'm looking at someone like David Pakman. David Pakman is going to be he's going to be in the next 5 years. David Pakman will have a contract with MSNBC. I could just see an MSNBC logo in the corner of the screen, and it would look so natural on David Pakman. So, and I used to like David Pakman, and there are times I can watch David Pakman and even agree with David Pakman even now. But I mean, I seldom peek at David Pakman these days. Let's see. I agree that these similar parties need unity, and the left just needs unity altogether. Let's see. The Greens offer Sanders to stand. He turned down Sanders. Is just a sheepdog. Yeah, and the Greens would not want J.C. Ventura, and I thought that was fucked up. I still voted for Howie Hawkins anyway, but they really needed what's his name? Jesse Ventura back in 2020. Geeks said way that before that. Let's see. Sam is a classic liberal. He knows my experience better than I do. He's a capitalist corporatist to the bone. Let's see here. Greeks. Let's see. So that I know what you're referring to. They were all group fighters. It's political at first. Yeah, I'll put the naming by TYT. Maybe it turned out that I was wrong. Let's see here. That's why I stopped watching Pac-Man. Yeah, as I said, I very seldom, very, 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 very seldom, which is really weird because David Pakman and Jimmy Dore despise each other. And neither of them knows me, like personally know me, but on my Facebook page, on their real Facebook page, I mean, they both accepted me as Facebook friends. So, yeah, I'm Facebook friends with David Pakman and Jimmy Dore. Imagine that. And but I guess weirder things can manifest itself at times. So I got a doctor's appointment in a few hours, so I do need to get a little bit of rest. So I'm going to let everyone go. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. Comment anyway. If you disagree, we'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it. We're the muckrakers of our time. Feel free also to subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and remember, We need to wage class warfare against crony capitalism. We need to find alternatives to war, and that means peace is what we must pursue. And that means we must stand up against the military-industrial complex, and which means that the defense contractors will no longer prosper. We must fight for equality for all people, because we're all equal, no matter who we are, or where we are going, and all of that in our day-to-day lives. And we must fight for the First Amendment, because when we defend all speech, we're also defending our own free speech, which means we need to defend the freedom of the press. And that means all press. That means I'm sleepy. That means that when we defend the freedom of the press, that includes Julian Assange's press freedom, because when he's not free, none of us are free, which makes us all Julian Assange. I'm going to phrase that a more clever way. But he must be freed, by the way. I do feel passionately about that. So until next time, everybody, I will let you all go with some musical interlude. Or musical. Take care.